The sun has been a sick, white eye for 2 moons. The world is painted in shades of grey. A fine, gritty ash falls without end, blanketing the giant fern forests, choking the streams and silencing the birds. For the 30 souls of the Ashfall clan, this is the slow end of all things. Their reality, a vibrant tapestry of green life million years ago, has been bleached into a monochrome nightmare. Gor, leader of the hunt, stands at the mouth of their cave, a silhouette against the pale gloom. The air he breathes is a betrayal, thin and sharp with the taste of rock dust and sulfur. It burns the lungs. This is a profound and terminal shift in their prehistoric life. Inside the cave, the clan is a huddle of quiet desperation. The children's coughs are a dry, rasping rhythm in the dark. Their ancient tools, simple flint choppers and bone awls that represent a critical leap in the story of early humans, lie unused. There is nothing left to hunt, nothing left to butcher. Nothing left to butcher. Una, the clan's memory keeper, whose face is a roadmap of droughts and floods, runs a hand over the cave wall. The paintings there, vibrant with ochre and charcoal, depict the great hunts of their ancestors. They are relics of a world that no longer exists. She speaks of the old stories, of a time before this time when the smoking mountains but a river of hot ash. A pyroclastic flow that scoured the northern valleys clean of all life. This, she rasps, is the same, but it is the sky itself that has become the river. The hard choice is not spoken, but it hangs in the air thicker than the ash. To stay is to be buried, to slowly starve in the dark of their ancestral home. To leave is to walk into a grey, featureless hell with no promise of a destination. The debate ends when a scout returns, his eyes wide with a terror that eclipses their despair. He does not speak of death, but of life. A force of nature so immense it defies belief. Gor takes to others and follows the scout to the ridge overlooking the Great Plains. What they see is not the land they know. It is a living sea. A gargantuan migration is underway. Thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of dinosaurs are moving south. A tide of palisade phs. They're mournful. Horn-like calls cutting through the gloom, march alongside armored fortresses of Ankylosaurus and vast herds of horned-faced Triceratops. The ground trembles with a beat that Gor feels in his teeth, a rhythm of pure, panicked survival. These prehistoric animals are fleeing the poison as well, and where the grazers go, there must be water. There must be green. It is their only chance. That night, the Ashfall clan, a tiny fragment of hominid history, packs its few belongings. They descend from their dying sanctuary and commit themselves to the edge of the stampede, becoming a fragile whisper on the edge of a deafening roar. To survive within the migration is to become a creature of the periphery. The Ashfall clan learns the new rhythm of life on the edge of a moving mountain range of flesh. The world is a drum, beaten by a million colossal feet. Sleep is a stolen moment between the earth-shaking tremors. They learn to read the herd's fear, the subtle shifts in direction that signal a cliff edge or a predator. They scavenge the remains of the weak, the old Triceratops ball that collapses from exhaustion, its great body a brief island of sustenance in the grey tide. This existence is a testament to their adaptability, a key chapter in the long, brutal story of human evolution. But they are not the only scavengers. They are not the only hunters clinging to the herd's flanks. Gor sees the track's first 3-toed impressions in the ash-caked mud, each as large as his torso. They are fresh. This is not a resident predator. This is a refugee just like them. 2 nights later they see him. On a ridge silhouetted against the sickly twilight, a Tyrannosaurus Rex stands watching the herd. It is gaunt, its powerful musculature starkly defined beneath its hide. This is no territorial king like the tyrants of old. This is a desperate, starving animal, displaced and dangerous, its formidable power now honed by hunger. It stalks the migration with a terrifying patience, picking off stragglers, its roars of frustration echoing across the plains when a potential meal is absorbed back into the safety of the herd. The clan now faces a dual threat, the crushing, mindless power of the herbivores and the focused, intelligent hunger of the apex predator that shadows them. The Great Migration, a force that has carved a path through forests and hills, now comes to a halt before a seemingly impassable barrier, a river, swollen and brown with ash-filled runoff. A half-mile of churning, violent water. For the herd, it is a catastrophic bottleneck. The front ranks are pushed forward by the sheer pressure from behind. The river becomes a maelstrom of panic. Triceratops, bellowing in terror, are swept away, their great bodies spinning in the current. Some are gored by the horns of their panicked kin. Others are simply drowned, their immense weight dragging them under. It is a river of carnage, a horrifying spectacle of the prehistoric world at its most merciless. For the clan, it is a death sentence. To wait on the bank is to be found by the starving T-Rex. To enter the water is to be crushed by the avalanche of flesh. Here, in this crucible of chaos, Anna's foresight offers a sliver of hope. She points not at the stampeding dinosaurs, but at the debris they dislodge, great logs and fallen trees torn from the banks, swept into the current. They bob and spin, but they float. It is a desperate, insane idea, but it is the only one they have. Using their flint axes, the clan works with a frantic energy, harvesting vines from the cliff face while the hunters stand guard, their spears a pathetic deterrent. This is primitive technology born of ultimate necessity. Lashing the logs together, their knuckles raw, they construct 3 crude rafts. The emotional turning point arrives as they prepare to launch. The T-Rex rips through the air, closer now. It has seen them. They are cornered. There is no more time. With a final, desperate shove, they push their flimsy hopes into the chaos, into a churning nightmare of water, horn, and bone. The river is a liquid nightmare. Their raft, a clumsy assembly of logs and vines, is a speck in the thundering chaos. Gor pulls with a desperate, burning strength, his knuckles white on the splintered wood. Beside him, Una shouts directions that are swallowed by the roar of the water and the bellows of dying dinosaurs. A Triceratops, its eye rolling in terror, crashes against their raft. They are spun into the main current, a maelstrom of thrashing limbs and horns. Caring for others is not so lucky. It is caught between 2 panicking bulls and vanishes, its occupants simply erased from the chronicle of their clan. They make the far bank not with skill, but with the brute force of the current that throws them into the shallows, gasping and bruised, their numbers now smaller, their spirits scoured raw. They have crossed, but to what? The land before them is a different kind of death. A vast windswept plain of cracked earth and grey dust, a boneyard from a forgotten age. Here, the skeletons of colossal, long-dead sauropods lie half-buried in the ash, their bleached tribs forming archways to a desolate sky. The great migration plows through this graveyard, the living trampling the bones of the ancient dead. The herd is thinner now, the weak and the unlucky claimed by the river, more aggressive, and the stalker has crossed with them. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, a relentless engine of hunger, is seen 2 days later, a dark shape moving through the skeletal landscape, its obsession now fixed entirely on the small, vulnerable clan of soft-skinned prey. There is nowhere to hide. The boneyard offers no caves, no forests. Here, confrontation is inevitable. It is Gor who sees the path to survival, not in the weapons they carry, but in the landscape itself. His plan is a work of grim genius, a dinosaur fight orchestrated by the human mind. He identifies a narrow channel between the fossilized pelvic girdle of a massive Borosaurus and a cliff face. It is a natural choke point, a trap made of bone, using their knowledge of osteodontocratic technology not to make tools, but to shape the battlefield. They sharpen the ends of massive fossilized ribs, jamming them into the earth at an angle, creating a crude but lethal palisade within the channel. The final element is the most dangerous. It requires a sacrifice, an act of altruism that is the bedrock of their community. 2 of the fastest youths, their bodies smeared with mud to mask their scent, will be the law. They break from the clan, running, shouting, making themselves an obvious target. The T-Rex, its patience finally exhausted, takes the bait. It charges, its footsteps like hammer blows on the dry earth. The youths scramble through the bone channel, just as the beast enters behind them. From the cliffs above, GOR and the others heave massive boulders, not at the dinosaur, but at the entrance, creating a rockslide that blocks its retreat. The T-Rex is trapped. Enraged, it thrashes, but the sharpened bone fence holds it. Now, from the other side, Una and the elders begin to beat hides against the ground, their rhythmic pounding mimicking the sound of a stampede, a sound they have lived with for months. They aim the sound towards a nearby group of nervous Triceratops, already on edge, react to the perceived threat. They will form a defensive wedge, and charge, not at the commotion, the trapped, roaring T-Rex. The monster that hunted them becomes the target of the herd's fear. The clan can only watch as their two greatest threats collide in a storm of tooth, horn, and primordial fury. The dust settles on a scene of mutual destruction. The tyrant is dead, its hide rent by a dozen horns, its reign ended not by a spear, but by a sound, an idea. The clan stands in the silence, their shadows long in the grey light. They are fewer, scarred, and haunted by the ghosts of their lost kin. But they are alive. They did not conquer the prehistoric world, they simply refused to be erased by it. This journey through the ash was more than a migration, it was a forging. They learned to see the world, not as a set of immutable threats, but as a collection of levers and triggers. They learned that a herd's panic could be a shield, that the bones of the dead could be the weapons of the living. Their frantic exodus was a chapter in the great, unwritten story of human evolution, the moment our ancestors stopped being merely victims of their environment and began to become its architects. How many such desperate gambles, how many forgotten clans, laid the foundation of ingenuity upon which our entire world is now built. Their legacy is the quiet, unshakable instinct deep within us that when faced with impossible odds, the most powerful tool is not the fist, but the observant mind. This is the chronicle of the footsteps that followed the thunder. But, on the far side of the world, a new ice was crawling from the poles, and it cared little for the quarrels of flesh and bone.